A lot of people have asked me how I actually design my thumbnails so they look this good. And in this video, I'm going to break down two of my first thumbnails that I've created for this channel. I would say also a major success in terms of looks, aesthetics, and also functionality. And in case you're wondering, it's these two thumbnails here, and for 150 subscribers, and at that time I had 0 to 50 subscribers. So in that terms, I think they have been a major success. And right now I will start by breaking down my purple bluish as like a pro thumbnail. So let's get started. Okay, so this actually was a template which I got from Twitter. It was a giveaway of the PSD file, and I asked the guy if I can have it. So he sent it over to me, and then what I did is I pretty much did not use anything from his thumbnail except for the background. So I did not use any of these flashy stuff, not even the coloring. Maybe the table, but most of the time I'm just using the background from him. And even the background is now slightly modified as well. So let's get started. So when I open this one up, you will see a bunch of stuff here. So this here at the top is just subtle vignette on top of the picture actually, and this on top here is just a rendered picture. These two things doesn't do anything, groundbreaking. The only thing I notice is just a slight vignette on the thumbnail. So bear in mind, I'm just gonna deactivate this. You can also just delete this if you want to. The main thing I want to break down is this group, and I'm gonna start from bottom to the top. So we'll start with the background first. I want to explain to you why I did with the background, why I did that, and what the vision was with this thumbnail. And also, I will also break down the text and the font and all that stuff. But let's first go to the background. So as I said, the only thing I got from that previous thumbnail designer was just a background that I'm still using. The background was looking also a little bit different than it is now. I have used generative fill to make it, I think, a little bit wider and to remove some distracting elements from the picture. And I also want to have a lamp here. So I added a generative fill AI lamp, like add lights, you can see here. I had a couple of things experimenting here, and now this is how it turned out. I thought this is pretty okay. So what I did essentially is just add a big circle to it and have a outer glow on top of the circle, blue outer glow, because I want to make this picture actually blue. So yeah, this is what it looks like. And then I also added this neon stick. I would say this is actually just a line with an outer glow. So it's just a white line with this purplish outer glow, soft and 50% opacity, and I will explain to you why I added these things. But ultimately what I did is I wanted to have a really clean background, something dark, because I wanted to have, my face and the text in the focus, and the colors also more in the focus rather than just the background. Doesn't make too much sense. Maybe this will change in the future. I'm definitely hyped because I'm redoing my room in the next month or so, not sure, and this will look much more cleaner. So maybe I will use the background from my room for the thumbnails. So up until that, this is how the background looks like right now. On top of this background, we have some blur and we have a black and white saturation. So exposure down, contrast up a little bit, highlights up, shadows down, whites down, blacks down, temperature down, vibrance up, saturation, of course, all the way down, texture up, clarity up. And yeah, what I actually essentially just changed at the background, everything was like that, but I just removed the saturation from the background and maybe just played around with the contrast and with the exposure. And then I also added a vignette on top of it. This is with minus 3.19 exposure. So there's a slight vignette, and also there's an overlay vignette on it with an exposure, and there's a normal vignette on top of it as well. So these two came from the pack that I already mentioned here. So I was using it, I was like, okay, this looks already cool, I like it, let me just use it. And then what I did is I just added a light. So this used to be like this, but I added a layer mask, and then I just removed the purple color on top of here because this looks a little bit too much for me. Doesn't make too much sense, and I just wanted to keep it more clean, so I just removed it here. But essentially I just had a purple color here on the bottom right for this neon stick, and then just set it to linear dodge add. So yeah, that is essentially what happened. Yeah, so purple color, boom. And on the left side I added the same thing in blue. So on the left side here you see it is all blue, and this is a blue colorway. It's also linear dodge add. The reason it's linear dodge add because it just looks weird on everything else, and I liked this the most. It looked the most natural as well. And what I essentially also add was a circle with some Gaussian blur on it and then an outer glow on it, so that it actually looks like these are actual neon sticks in the background, and this is like a big, softbox that is shining blue in the background. So that was the intention behind that. And then what I did is just basically add some more, I would say, contrast maybe to it, but I think this also came with the background as well. I will probably do a complete background redesign for the next thumbnails or for the foreseeable future once I redesign my room actually, and just take some background photos, because I think it's really cool to have some background photos of the background, if that makes sense. Some photos of the background, and then photos of myself, and of course photos of what you need for the thumbnails itself as well, because I already took some shots from the side for my setup as well, so those shots are also really useful for thumbnails. But yeah, you will figure that out once you have a concept for it for your thumbnail. And yeah, so this is basically the background. Nothing crazy, I think. The only thing that I did, essentially, if we break it down and just summarize it, is I had the background, I desaturated it, blurred it out, added some stick and a circle, added some blur on the stick and the circle, and then just had some glow on top of them, an outer glow, and then just colored the left side of the thumbnail and the right side of the thumbnail with a different color. So in this case, blue, and on the right side, I was using pink, purple-ish color. So yeah, and then we come to the subject. So me, the subject. And yeah, so where should we start? And yeah, so this picture was taken with an actual proper camera. So this is why it is so detailed and why I had like so many details. Like, I kid you not, it's a really high quality camera. Like, I have, for like 20 years, I have not taken any shots with a camera, like a proper camera gear and all that stuff. And now I had the luck to, shoot myself like with a thumbnail with the camera. And it's night and day difference. I kid you not. If you're shooting thumbnails for your own channel with a phone, it's okay. But if you're doing it with a cameraman, you will thank yourself later in the editing, because it's like so much easier to edit. You don't have these little pixels that you're seeking for. You're not missing anything, any details, and it's just so easier to work with, even with an AI or if you're coloring. I just love it. And yeah, so what I essentially did, I will just go into the smart object. So essentially what I did, I will, open these smart objects here. I will go to add here. This is what it's called. So this is what it looked like before. I'm happy that I actually have the shot of me before. So this is what it looked like. I think the only thing that I did here up until this part, I just removed some skin problems. Not skin problems, but you know what I mean. It's just I cleaned up the skin. So this is a nice line here, and there is no, skin things that is distracting. You see that on Mr. Beast as well. Like, if you look at Mr. Beast, for example, he is also removing all the skin problems. It looks like a cartoon character in that sense. And it just makes the face look a lot cleaner in my opinion, and I really like it, especially for thumbnails. Nothing else. Like, for an actual Instagram photo, it looks weird, but for thumbnails, I think it looks really good. And yeah, also what I did was I changed up my hoodie. So when I took the photo, I had the same hoodie on that I have right now, and I can show you. I had the hoodie actually like this, so it was looking weird. My t-shirt was leaking here in the photo. It's not leaking in the sense of water dripping out or whatever. It's just it was seen on here, and I didn't want to see my shirt. It's just so distracting if there are so many colors on your clothing in a thumbnail, I think. I just wanted to keep it simple, and this also just annoyed me because it doesn't look proper. It doesn't look professional, and I wanted to make it like a little bit professional. So the thing I did, back then, before AI, I used to color painted all this stuff, or find a stock footage and just cut it out and do all these things. And now I'm actually happy that I can use AI and just remove the hoodie and just replace the hoodie, because that's what I did. I replaced the whole black hoodie. So you see, it's not even the same hoodie. I'm not sure if it's visible, but it's not even the same stuff here. But yeah, this is what I did. I just cut myself out, removed the hoodie, and just replaced it. And what I also did is like I did not like the hair. I thought it was distracting a little bit, so I added some more hair. It was just weird, and I just add hair. This is why also the smart object is called add hair. And yeah, so this is ultimately what happened here. I'm not sure if I added any other effects on basically after removing all these skin problems, whatever. What I only know is I just converted it to a smart object and then I added a bunch of effects on top of it to make it kind of like more like a cartoonish and just clean it up and just light up the face a little bit more and make it look interesting. And I'm going to show you all the good stuff right now. So first we have the normal layer down here. It's called add hair. I'm not going to change it. It's funny. It's cool. Then I also did some small imperfection things that I fixed up here. But first we're going to cover is all these things here. Because all the things I've selected on top here, up until this point down here, is made by one command that I have gotten from a Mr. Beast's face tutorial video. It's called Mr. Beast's face effect. And here's an action. And once I select the smart object, I just click here on play selection. And then I just hit enter all the time. And it's giving me all these things here. So the first thing is here, what I actually add is some skin smoothing. So this is a camera raw filter. I highly encourage you to actually get this command because it will actually speed up your workflow by a lot. But yeah, what this does first is makes a camera filter and just reduces the texture. And then it adds a layer mask on it and inverts the layer mask. And then you can just paint all over the face where you like to have the skin smoothen. Like you see here, this is not smooth right now. Like it's not 100% smooth. You can just paint over it and it's smooth. So it looks not natural and it doesn't look good at all. So this is why I always just either bring down the flow to a low point and then just paint like this, or I just don't paint at all at some parts of the face. I actually just paint around here where I want it to look more smooth. So yeah, this is basically the first effect. Then I add burn to it. What burn does is basically it darkens the skin. So this is actually just a curve where it just darkens the skin. So I can make it like super dark here like as well. Like I don't know what I should say to this, but yeah, this is what it does. And then what I do with the burn is I just paint out like all the parts that, if you have like natural light coming up from this place, I would paint up all this stuff here to make it pop more, make it more cartoony a little bit as well, if you want to call cartoony. So yeah, and then all around the beard probably, and here as well, here on my eyebrows as well, like all the parts that make sense, and just give it like a nice contour basically around the face. And then I dodge the face as well. So what dodge does is it adds some light to it, and I dodge it a little bit, just a little bit, like at this part here, or at this part, or my nose, or my forehead. All these parts are a little bit more lit up, dodged in that sense. And then I added also teeth brightness. So you can't notice my teeth all too much because it's barely there. But I thought, why not just add some small details into it? Maybe it looks good, but maybe it's just now it's looking like I'm missing a tooth, but whatever. I'm keeping it. It's cool. It's cool. But yeah, what I'm also gonna add is some teeth whiteness. So I'm just gonna paint over my teeth basically with this on the layer mask, and yeah. And lips also, what I did is just add some more cyan, magenta, and some more black to the lips, just to make it a little bit more. If I say epic, this sounds weird, so I'm not gonna say it. Okay, it's epic. Okay. Okay, whatever. Yeah, after that I have a tongue, but I did not do anything to it, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he can just change up the color of the tongue if the tongue is visible for your face here as well. But I have not made it visible here, so did not change at all. But yeah, what I did change was the eye color. So this is my actual eye color. It's blue, so no worries. I'm not like clickbaiting with some weird eye colors, whatever. So what I did is just made it more pop. The eye color is like more blue. It just looks so much more cool, I think, in my opinion. So yeah. And then what I also did is I just increased the eye whiteness. So this is how we did it with a curve. And here with the eye color, of course, we just colorized it. And then you can also just make it like purple if you want to. Like, this looks weird. I don't know. It's like, yeah, this is so weird. Okay. I don't want to do that. Okay. But yeah. And then I also just had these yellow spots here from the skin or from the eye. And then I just made it white. Basically, the eye completely white. Because I thought this would look the most cleanest way. Because we humans tend to look in the eyes when we talk. If you're not shy, you know. And then, you know, that's the first thing you see on a thumbnail. And wide open eyes is like, I think, really popping on a really good looking thumbnail. And then when I added some skin tone, and both of them have been changed here. So less cyan, more magenta, more yellow, less black, which makes it a little bit more bright. And then less cyan again, more magenta, less yellow. What I also did do is make it more orangey a little bit and more black a little bit here. So yeah, this is what it would look like, or I would just keep it like it was before. But yeah, you get it. I just try to make it more orange, make the skin tone look also a little bit more cartoony again. And then what I added was some contrast boost and also some overall brightness boost, because I thought, okay, this looks cool, but what if I add contrast and make it more bright? Oh, this looks even more better. Okay. And then I also noticed there was like this little purple spot here. I'm not sure if it's visible here on the screen, but there's also this green spot, which just threw off a little bit of the whole picture and was a little bit noticeable. So yeah, I just fixed that by adding some color to it, some hue to it, some brown hue probably. And then I also just blacked out this small issue in the glasses. And yeah, this is what it looked like. And also, just a fun fact, I forgot to remove my AirPods. I was like, when I have these AirPods in, like, I just don't feel them too much. Like, I know the sound is sounding like a little bit more dense rather than not having them inside. But the transparency mode of these AirPods is like so clean and just so advanced that I just barely can notice if I have them in or not. They also have like no weight at all. So I just tend to forget them some of the times. But yeah, this was basically the effects that I've added on top of it. And this is what it looks without the effects. And this is what it looks with the effects. And I think this is way more appealing to have this dude on a thumbnail rather than this dude on a thumbnail. It just looks way more cleaner and a lot more clickable as well. Even with the teeth, this looks so cool. Like, I don't know. But yeah, so this or this, I think this one is looking really good. Don't save it. And I'll also add a couple more stuff to it as well, because now this is what it looks like. Also added some camera raw filters to it. I will break those down in a second. Also some drop shadow to it as well to separate it from the background a little bit. Just create some little bit of shadow. But yeah, what I added in here in the camera raw filter was, let me just zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So less highlights, more shadows, and less whites, more contrast, and less blacks. And then more saturation, just a slightly bit, more texture, clarity, less dehaze, less vignettes, more grain, just a little bit. I adjusted the curves a little bit, like the highlights, lights, and darks went down, and the shadows a lot, which creates kind of like this contrasty feeling, like this darkness, if that makes sense, I'm not sure. and then I also added some sharpening details and some noise reduction as well. And yeah, this was it. This was stuff that I added, because this was before and this was the after. And the after looked so much more better and so much more fitting to the background. And I thought, like, this is something that I would love to have on a background. It just fits the vibe. And now this is also something I can add a glow onto it, because if you see, there is a bunch of glow on top of it. Okay, so what I did first is I had my hair here, okay, and then I just noticed that this is like colored from the burn that I added on top of the effect with the contour and all that stuff. I also added it onto my hair, so I was like, okay, this is now colored, so this is orange all around my hair, so this is not making any sense like in real life. So I just added less color on top of my hair. It's like my hair had like less color. That's it. Like color, boom. And here's also, I think, either brown or dark gray. Maybe brown or dark gray. I'm not sure. But yeah, I just colored my hair so it's not distracting too much. And then what I did is I just added some slight lights to it. Like, you know, when you see these shows, these podcasts, and they have like a really high quality light setup, and they have like a big softbox shining on their face, and then they also have like a softbox from the other side, or like another box that just helps to fill the lights or fill light. But they also maybe have like something in the back that shines on top of the head, so they are separated with a light stripe on their head from the background. Not sure if that makes sense, but this is what it looks like. And I just added basically this light stripe on top of it. So it goes around here, and it just goes like all around here my head, and goes here into my glasses. And then, I'm not sure what this is, but I just kept it here, I guess. And then what I added was also just a slight overlay, white overlay on top of my edges here, like here, all the way from here to here. What I wanted to do with this is just separate myself from the background, and also why I did this for. I did not make this here in order. I just actually probably added the colors, and then I added these white overlays to it. But what this does is it helps to make the colors, you know, glow a little bit more as well if you add some white overlay below the colors, you know? Like, for example, see this before and after, okay? So this looks way better than the before, like this. This is just way too dark. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like I made it in paint. I don't know. So yeah, I have a white overlay, and then I start with the blue color. So I had a blue background on the left side, so I had to color my left side of my face also blue. And this technique that I use is probably not the best, but this is the one I found the best and the most easiest. Or probably I just know this one technique, I guess. And this is how I actually make my skin glow in that sense, in different colors, or my skin edge, or my, you know, subject edge glow. So what I do first with these colors is I just make it subtle, like a subtle blue to it, and it's like kind of like more far away, if that makes sense. So I'm painting like more this side, more this left side here, rather than, you know, all the way here. So I just bring up basically my brush and decrease the hardness, and I just paint like here. So it barely touches my skin here. It barely touches my body, okay? Like this, you know? And then what I do is I'm adding another layer of blue, but this time I'm touching it more and more, but also way more subtle. So the hardness is a little bit more up, I think, but it's like touching it more, but it's also way more subtle at the edge. So to bring more colors on top of the, like the goal here is to make the edge here completely blue, and then have less opacity from that blue if we move on the color, moving more inside here. So basically, I want the most amount of blue here at the edge, and the least amount of blue here around this area. So I don't want to overglow my shirt with this. I hope this makes sense. But yeah, this is the same thing I did here as well. Just purple around here, and less opacity purple that is touching here, just to give it more like a glowy vibe, okay? And then what I did to make it glow is an overlay, a white outline, basically a white outline here, overlay effect, or overlay layer style, I guess. And one thing I also added was just a subtle glow on top of my beard. And how I did that was I brought down my flow here, and then I just painted on it, and I just also used the eraser tool and just removed it where I didn't want to have it. So making multiple layers does make sense, especially if you like coloring all over your shirt probably. And I also added some white overlay on top of here as well, and also a subtle more glow on top of the left here as well. So this is also white color probably. And then also I just added this little thing here because I noticed it was cut off. So I just added this here with AI probably as well. So yeah, this was it. This was the subject. I hope this made sense. I will definitely do a tutorial about this, you know, thumbnail process more in the future as well. Maybe it's the next video as well. Who knows? When I'm creating my next thumbnail, I will definitely make a video about it as well and just show you guys in a full tutorial how I do it. But I thought many people actually wonder how I do my thumbnails, and this is like a fast breakdown of how I do my thumbnails. But yeah, what I do now is just add a small gradient, like a black gradient, I would say shadow on the bottom, and then I add text to it. And if you're asking what this font is, it's Lexant Deca, and it's a bold font, Lexant Deca. I mean, it doesn't look like the style I was looking for, but the reason I picked this font, it is because this is the easiest to read font ever. Lexant fonts are intended to reduce visual stress and so improve reading performance. Initially, they were designed with dyslexia and struggling readers in mind, but Bonnie creator soon found that these fonts are also great for everyone else. So basically, these fonts were made for people who have dyslexia, but now they become like the best font to read. Like I saw a video about this exact font, like someone made a whole video about this font because it's the best readable, most readable font. So yeah, with that being said, I just add some 3 drop shadows on top of it, like a subtle one, a little bit more, bigger one, and then also a stronger one, or one that supports the bigger one as well. So it separates basically from the background and makes it easier to read, because that's the goal. So yeah, that is the first background. As I said, I add some effects on top of it, and once I'm done with this background, I go into Lightroom. And what I do in Lightroom is pretty simple. I just add some really cool touches to it that I think just look aesthetically more pleasing. For example, what I add on top of it is enhancing clothes. So what I do is basically I just go to premium, I enhance my clothes, I texture my hair a little bit more. I just find that these look super interesting on YouTube or just on YouTube thumbnails when you have these textured hair. And then I darken my beard a little bit, darken my eyebrows, I whiten my teeth. If there is more shown, then you have a better result. But if it's like here, then you will see probably nothing. And then I enhance my eyes just to subtle. Like I play around with the amount a little bit more. So yeah, basically I just add some pop on subject and it looks a little bit more separated from background. It pops more basically. But we don't need that. We don't want to overdo it. But yeah, this is what I do. And usually I also add some subtle grain on top of it, just to make it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing as well. But yeah, this was the first thumbnail, and now I'm going to show you what I did with the second one, because the second one is exact same thumbnail, and I just changed up a couple things. So this is what it looks like. I did not, organize it too much, but what I ultimately did was I removed the background stuff, like the colors here. I removed the stick here. I removed everything that I added basically because I didn't want to have any lights shining in the background. I wanted to have it desaturated, just blurred, and that's it. And then what I did, I had a screenshot taken from a timeline. I probably found this timeline on Google. So I just searched up an image and I just basically downloaded an image. And then what I did is I had this image, I added it into After Effects actually, and then what I did is I added deep glow on top of this image because I know that deep glow always looks good, and the effect that I wanted to achieve, it made so much more sense to make it in After Effects and make it with deep glow. So that's what I did, and then what I also, this is what it looked like after that, and I just added some drop shadow on top of it here, and then just made it green color. I just made it neon green color. And then what I did is I had the saturation increased a little bit and also had the brightness and the contrast increase on the timeline as well. And yeah, this was the effect I was looking for. What I did then is I did the same as with the blue and the purple color. I just did that in green, okay? So all the things the same. So yeah, this was the style that I was looking for. And the title was around something with how I want to achieve 10K per month as a video editor. So I was like, okay, I want to have a timeline showing, but I also want myself on the thumbnail because I know that the thumbnail that I did before was really good. Like, I don't want to exaggerate, but I think I had like 100 views in less than a day, which is a lot for a channel with 0 subscribers just a couple hours prior. So, or just a day prior. So I was like, okay, I will just replicate the thumbnail. If it works, then why change too much? So the only thing I did actually was just change the color around here and make it green. So I did the same glow thing with the white outlines and the color. Yeah, here's the purple actually, but I just changed the colorway here to green, to lime green on both of them. So it's like even faster. It's not about making it again and again and again. It's more about just getting it done as fast as possible, just to not waste any time. And yeah, this was the look that I was actually going for. So, and then I also picked up Lex and Deca again and had 10K per month on top of it. And then boom. And I also added these effects on top of it as well. And then I went back into Lightroom, and you see here, boom, I just added basically some cool effects on top of it. I think I made it a little bit more pop, yeah. And then what I also did is I added some gritty portrait, which makes the skin like a little bit used up. So it's really highly textured. That's the effect that it's giving on top of this portrait, just to make it a little bit more used up, like you're like in the trenches, you know, or you're in war or whatever. It looks like you have been through something. This is what the effect is trying to achieve. And hence eyes, white teeth, darken eyebrows, darken beard, texture hair, and enhanced clothing. This is the things that I add on top of it, and also just a slight grain as well on top of it. But yeah, the grain is pretty much just there to add some, I would say just, I just like grain, man. I just think it's aesthetically pleasing, so this is why I add it on every thumbnail. So yeah, this is the end result, and I hope you guys found this interesting. And if you have been working with Photoshop before, then this will make sense to you. If not, I'm planning to do a Photoshop full tutorial on how to do thumbnails, how to do other people type of thumbnails as well. So how you can replicate other people's thumbnails. And also just basically a whole tutorial on Photoshop as well, because I myself, before I knew After Effects, I actually designed a lot of things in Photoshop, like even just making a straight line. I had no clue how to make that in Premiere Pro, and I had no clue how to use After Effects. So once I wanted to add a straight line, just a regular normal line in the video, I was doing it in Photoshop actually. So yeah, with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, join the Discord. Many people are joining the Discord. We are already 50 people in the Discord. I already said Discord like 5 times already, but this is how much I think this Discord will actually bring you forward as an editor. I post all the assets in an assets tab here, and I answer all the questions that people have all the time. I give highly, feedback on top of these videos that you send me. This is just for a short, I think, that I got here that someone sent in. There's a lot of feedback that I give to these projects. So yeah, if you want to improve as an editor, and you have any suggestions that you want to ask me to do a video about, for example, this dude asked me to do a certain effect where you showcase a YouTube. So yeah, once he asked it, I had recreated this effect and also added 2 another effects on top of it. And that video I will record probably tomorrow. And that's the next video that will come right before this video. So once you see this video, that breakdown of that video is already done. So yeah, but yeah, also someone asked me stuff here. I always send like the best assets. I don't have anything, locked or whatever. I actually answer everything you guys ask here. Or someone asked, can you please share what websites you use, assets, music, sound effects, graphics? And once he asked that, literally, I think a week later, I made a video about all the assets that you need as an editor, like audio, sound effects, or AI tools, templates, the plugins that I use, or where I get my inspiration from, or where you could also get your inspiration from. So yeah, if you want to become the best editor, my Discord is the way. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. God bless you, and have a nice day.